Hello and welcome back. In this segment, I'd like to talk about personal growth. We had a movie in our Instagram, and I invite you to watch that movie. It's a personal change and personal growth. The name of the movie is The Shift by Wayne Dyer. It's two segment. I invite you to watch that movie, but I'm going to talk to Dr. Payam Kade. Let me see, we have a good connection with Los Angeles. Yes. So, he is a clinical psychologist and licensed marriage family therapist. And my question is, let me see, he's here or not. Yes, he is here. Hello and welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Amir. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you. I'm fine. How are you?
I am good, thank you. Very well. Good to see you.
It's pleasure to have you as usual. So let's talk about personal change and growth and see why we need to change.
First of all, definitely watch The Shift. If you haven't, you're going to love it. Anything about Mr. Dyer is fantastic. He is really a legend, and he has, I have read all of his books, by the way.
Yeah. Dr. Kade,
he makes it simple.
Yeah, it was a week ago, and my therapist, she said, watch that movie again. I said, I watch it. She said, watch it again. And I knew every time I'm watching movie after a few months or after a year, it looks like a... So, it was miracle. It was amazing.
New.
It was amazing. So
and you always pick up something new when you watch it
again. Yeah, Friday, and I figure out I feel I like to watch it again. Saturday night I watch the game. I start stop and rewind and play again, and it's very profound speech and words. And on Sunday I was around walking and biking at the beach, and I feel I want to watch it again. It was the third time. The movie is 2 hours and it takes for me 4 hours because I have lots of notes, and it looks like it was super new for me. It's an amazing movie. So why we need to change our personality?
The change that I'm going to be talking about is not necessarily just about personality, but it definitely does require a personality that is willing to change. And the reason I say that is because oftentimes people do want to change, but because it's difficult, and sometimes because they don't have the knowledge base, or they have a fear-based mentality of change, they default back to status quo, to what is comfortable. Every single one of us somehow defaults back to what is comfortable. The person who actually achieves and gets to higher ground is the one who is not willing to stay status quo, and they're willing to risk everything. They're willing to, they have that mentality, but they also have a very good drive. So let's first say what kind of a personality is required to bring about a change, right?
Right.
So the personality that really we need to have is someone who is actually a motivator. He can motivate himself, or he can be motivated by others. That's number one. Or he can also motivate others. So let's say the change is going to be done in an organization. You want to change the organization. You have to have that mentality of change. You have to have a clear vision and a mission for what you are going to change. Whether it's something very small or something it's something very big. One of the other things that is very important is that we cannot have change when you have a sprint mentality. What do I mean by that? Means change takes time. Change is like a marathon. You need to be willing to invest time, invest energy, get educated, and the change happens over time. If you're looking for a change that happens by tomorrow morning, that is really not the change that I'm talking about. Okay, that's called a shift, not a change. Change is different than shift. Shift is like when you're in a state of being right now and you can make a shift quickly and change your state of being. and go
Yes.
into another state. Change is takes over time, and it's much more profound and powerful, and it brings a lot of wonderful things with itself. One of the most important things change can bring is that it's going to put you in a different state of being, that you can achieve things that you probably have not achieved prior to that time. So that's number one. No, number two is, I think a person who really likes to shift and wants to change and bring that kind of a space within himself has to value himself. He has to value, or she has to value his time and have a purpose. If a person who really does not value their time, they don't value themselves, they don't really bring a change. They default back to status quo very quickly. Even if they start something, it stops very quickly. It may be it may be something, a motivation that they may receive from a friend. They may start going to the gym, for example, for 2 weeks, and then they go back to status quo and stay at home. Right? So
Right.
if you really care about yourself and you have a set of value and you care about your time and you care about your life, then you do want to make a shift and you do want to change when you think it's needed. So the other thing that is very important is that we have to find out if the individual is actually aware that the change is needed. Do they really know that they need to shift? Some people do not really know that, right? They don't really see it. Sometimes from the feedback they get from the environment, from the society, from a friend, from a spouse, from a child, they realize they need to make that change. That whatever that they are doing right now or however they're being is not working. So that is where you really get a clear, and then you can make that a clear, articulate message for yourself. What is it that I'm trying to change? You need to be very specific. You can't jump all over the place. In my opinion,
Right.
that change never works.
Exactly.
What you have to basically tell yourself, what is it that I'm trying to change? Articulate it, write it down, make sure you're focused, you know what you're talking about. And then you have to check yourself and to see if you really have the desire to change. Because if you don't have the desire, you really don't go after making the change. You may love to become a millionaire, you may love to lose 30 pounds, you may love a lot of things, but you're not going to do it if you really don't have a desire for it. So desire is very important. You have to be able to address those points. If you find yourself not having the desire, you need to find out why. And if you can't find out why, you have to see someone to tell you why is it that you don't have the desire for any change, right? And then you have to, the other thing is you have to find out if you really do have the knowledge base for that change. Do you have the information necessary? Do you have the information or the knowledge that is required for that change? If you don't have the knowledge required for that change, you need to go get it from somewhere. So basically walk into the footsteps of someone else that has already done that, make that change. Like,
Right.
let's say you want to lose weight, somebody else has already lost 50 pounds. Great. There is a body of evidence that shows a lot of people that have gone through a certain program, they have changed their lifestyle, right? So maybe
Right.
you can follow them. So you don't necessarily have to create something. Sometimes the wheel is already there. You just have to use the same wheel that other people have used, right?
Right.
And then you have to, and then it's not just knowing the knowledge, you have to know whether you can or you have the ability to put that into practice. It is wonderful if you have read a lot of books, but it means nothing if you can't put it into practice into your life, right?
Exactly.
We can read 50 books by tomorrow, watch 50 movies, go to all of this
We
stuff
should leave
and get,
it.
yeah, we can go to Tony Robbins and come out and then do nothing. So if you don't put it into practice, it really means nothing. It really doesn't bring a change. It does bring a change in the state of mind. It does make your mind more open. That I have to agree that for sure, reading 50 books will help you become more open-minded, but it may not bring the change that you're looking for unless you know
Yes.
how to put it into practice. Meaning you have
Practice.
to sort of have a bulletin board, put those points on it. What is it that I'm trying to do? What does it require? Do I have the support system that I need to make that change?
Right.
Maybe I can look into champions out there that have created that change and they have become the change themselves. They're constantly shifting and changing their life, and I can follow the footsteps of those champions. I don't have to do this on my own, alone, without any support or without any guidance. That is very important because sometimes when we don't look for a guide out there, we don't look for support, We default back to the state that we were before. It is much more comfortable. It is less painful, less challenging. We don't have to do a marathon, right? Change is a marathon, like I said before. It's not
Yeah,
a sprint.
exactly.
Sprint
Yes.
is a change of state of being, but change is a marathon. You have to look like you're going to run for 30 miles. You need to pace yourself. You need to find ways to make sure you don't pass out along the way. And if you do fall, how do I get up? Who is going to be my support system to bring me back up if I fall or if I fail in some of this? Mentality is very important. A doer mentality rather than a failure mentality is extremely important. If you have the mentality of, oh, I can't do it, it's difficult. Like, for example, right now you
Okay.
can use a lot of
Yes.
excuses. It's pandemic. I don't know if I can do this. This is a bad time. It's not a good time to make shift. And the reason I wanted to talk about this subject is because we are facing a lot of changes in our life right now.
Exactly. Yes.
Whether
Yes.
we
Yes.
like whether we like it or not, some of us have lost our jobs. Our life has changed dramatically. We have to be able to be resilient. Resiliency requires the ability to change. The ability to see the need for a change is extremely important. And this is
Right.
the reason I wanted to break this topic. And then, of course, at the end of all of this, we have to make sure we have the reinforcements. What do I mean by that? Meaning we have people that are out there supporting us and basically pushing us and clapping for us, all of that stuff, motivating us, driving us to go to that distance. You can even see when I brought up a subject, a topic of marathon. You can see people in marathon. How many people are standing in the corner, giving them water, giving them a towel, helping them, cheering them on? Go for it! You can do this. You have 2 more miles to go. You see, or race car drivers. You see, there is a coach or a team behind him, and there are all these people, right? They're all cheering for that race car driver, and the person is telling him in his ear, "You can do this. You have 3 more miles to go. You're ahead. You're this." So we need that reinforcement sometimes by others. I suggest strongly find someone who is not a pessimistic person. Find someone who is optimistic. Find someone who can see the horizon. Don't look at someone and don't bring someone into your life that is pessimistic and does not see the light at the end of the tunnel. That person is going to help you fail,
It's very
not get to the
important.
where you want. Yes, it is extremely important. We have to have a positive reinforcement, not a negative reinforcement. That is critical, I think, in any change. Just like a therapist that helps you out. Of course, I'm not saying it has to be a therapist. It can be anyone, but it has to be someone who has the mentality of go get it. You can do it. Nothing is impossible if you really put your mind into it. You have to have the mindset to get it going. The mindset is extremely important. That's why I keep talking about it, because majority of the people who do not change, they don't change it because they don't have the mindset for it.
Mindsets. Yes, exactly.
It is extremely important. It starts from within yourself. If you're going to change an organization, for example, how does it work when you want it to be changed in an organization? You have to be willing to be a champion of change yourself and lead from within. When you lead from within and you're doing it for a good cause and for a good reason, you don't have to sell it to anyone. People will gravitate towards you. They will come to that change. They will become part of your team, right? So
Right.
it's
Exactly.
very simple. If you don't do it that way, then you may have a lot of people that may look at you and say, well, it doesn't look like this person is really here out of love. This person is not here out of change for all of us. It's change for him. It's what's good for him. It's like a leader of a country that does everything for himself or to get votes, right? It's not
Right.
doing it for the people. How many people will gravitate towards that person? Not many. But the person who actually comes and says, I want to bring a change and I want to bring a change to every single one of us, that person usually gains a lot more votes than anyone else.
Exactly. Very, very profound. Very good. Dr. Kate, so why do we resist change?
We resist change because it's difficult, right? Let's
Right.
say tomorrow I ask you and I tell you, Amir, we can go do a marathon tomorrow in next week in Boston. and it's only 26 miles. And
Mm-hmm.
we're at the end, we're going to be doing this and doing that. For you, that change may be, are you kidding me? I'm going to run 26 miles and be out of breath and God knows pass out, my muscles collapse and all of that stuff. So what? What am I going to get at the end of it? You may not really see, right? Or it may not be a change that you're looking for. Why do we need to change? We don't really need to change. When you see something in your life that is not working,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you're becoming static. Life is about dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Life has to be dynamic. Life has to be about achieving. I think we have already talked about this before.
Right.
Life is about life is about achieving. Life about taking the next step and going to the next stage. A life that becomes static becomes depressive. In order for you to always be happy and look for something greater, you have to do something greater.
Mm-hmm.
In order for that, that requires a change, right? Sometimes in the status quo that we are in, we may not be able to create what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have to find out what is it that we're looking for. We have to make sure we laser focused on what is it that we are trying to change that is going to bring happiness to our life and be dynamic about it. Not we can't just sit here and ask for a change. It's not going to happen, right? The
Mm-hmm.
world didn't become like this on its own. A lot of people actually put in a lot of effort into this world to make it look like this. And that's that, like for example, someday somebody found out that internet is so important. That's one way that you and I are communicating using that internet, right? So that person brought the change knowing that that is going to be extremely important in people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
or it
Uh,
became something very important in people's lives. But he brought that knowledge into practice. And I'm sure God knows how many times that person probably have failed. But then the success came from knowing that the change is needed. We need to take that extra step.
exactly. Dr. Kate, uh, what is needed?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing that is needed is a wisdom.
Wisdom,
Wisdom, you
knowledge.
need to, knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
wisdom are extremely important because some people do not have the wisdom for a change. They have not gained the wisdom or the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge for a change. They have not been taught. They have never learned it. So how would they know if they don't know it, right? Some
Right.
people feel it in their heart. They know within themselves something inside of me or something in my life needs to change because where I am is not where I want to be. I need is
Right.
somewhere great, but it's not where I want to be. So if
Mm-hmm.
I know, if I'm equipped with that knowledge and I know that this is not where I want to be, then I have to be able to define and articulate where is it that I need to be? What is it that I want in my life? What am I looking for? What am I trying to create? If I'm trying to create something, can I create it in the state that I'm in? If I can't, then it requires a change. That change requires a knowledge. I need to gain the knowledge for it so I can create that change. Far more important than anything else is a do mentality. And I would bring one more thing. Do not, it has to require, it needs for us to stop dwelling on our past. We can't constantly
Dwelling on
dwell on our
past.
past
Mm-hmm.
and try to create a change for the future because
Mm-hmm.
our energy is going to be wasted on
Right.
dwelling on the past and nothing can be created today, right?
Right.
What I would suggest is pay attention to your state of being today, look for tomorrow, gain the knowledge, have the do mentality, uh, know that the change requires, and it's like a marathon, requires for you to be patient. So if you're saying what is needed, you have to be patient. You cannot say, oh, I want to bring this change by tomorrow. A lot of people say, I'm going to be a millionaire, right? I'm going to stop going to school. I'm going to open my own office or
Right.
business, and I'm going to be a millionaire by next year. And they fail. One of the reasons they fail is because they want to do this everything overnight. They're not patient. They're not willing to invest time, energy, gain the knowledge, follow someone's footsteps,
Mm-hmm.
bring support so they can actually achieve and not fail. And when they
Right.
fail, sometimes they go back to the original state they were in before. They're like, oh, I tried, I failed. And they have all the excuse for it to tell you how they failed. Okay, you
Exactly.
failed. Fine. You get up again and do it again. You failed. And that's okay. Look, what happened to Edison? How many times did he fail when he was
Right.
trying to create the light bulb, right? And they asked him one time, well, you tried 100 times, and he said, yeah, I learned 100 times it's not going to work. So he tried
Yes.
again,
Yes,
and then it worked.
exactly. Yes, exactly, exactly.
Don't give up.
That's the word I want to say. That's
Don't
the
give up.
word I want to say. When you have everything is ready, you have knowledge, you have wisdom, you have your support system, you have all of this stuff you mentioned, don't give up and keep going.
And only one more thing, and I don't know if you have time. One more thing.
Sure,
It has
of
to be
course.
within. It has to be within reason. Like I cannot at age
Mission,
52, I
goal,
cannot tell
mission.
myself.
You're talking about the
Right.
mission
I
and
cannot
goal?
tell myself. No, what I'm saying is it has to be something within reason. What the change that you're looking for is not impossible, but it has to be within reason. Somebody
Right.
at my age cannot go join the NBA or join a professional football team and play football, right? I don't have the body for it. I'm not that young anymore. So it has to be within reason. There's certain things you can do, certain things you cannot do. But you cannot have the mentality of I cannot do. If one more person in this world has done it, you can do it too. If only one person has done it, this actually came from my father. He said, if one person in this world has done it, I can do it too. And he was a great medical doctor, and he spoke 5 different languages. And
Amazing.
I really love that about him. He never had the mentality of it's not possible. He was 50 some years old and he started learning Chinese medicine and got his
Wow.
degree in while he was a medical doctor. He got his degree in Chinese medicine because he said, there is no I cannot do, I will do it. He sat down
Amazing.
every night, studied, and got his license because he loved Chinese medicine.
That's why he has, successful kids like you, and
Well, I
you're
don't know about that,
amazing.
but
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gate. I really appreciate for your time, and I hope to see
Thank you
you
for your time.
soon. Okay?
I hope so too. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. I appreciate
Good
it.
to
Thank
see
you
you.
so much.
Pleasure.
Same
Thank
thing.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, then I recommend to send, first of all, watch one more time. Watch one more time this video, and then send it to your friends. Send it to your friends and share with them. Maybe you can just poke them and be a reason for a big change for their life. Thank you so much for watching Togetherness Media. Thank you so much for your support, and I really appreciate you if you share our website and our app with your friends. Share it on social media. Share from our stories on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and let us know if you have any opinion or concern. I really appreciate for your support, and stay tuned with us.